Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the civil war taking place inside the former state of Ethiopia, along with the Eritrean invasion of the Tigray region. So, first, we're going to turn our attention to the Tigray region, and then we're going to have a look at what's happening in Oromia. We have some more updated information that is coming across the wires that we would like to report on. So first, we continue to hear about this so-called agreement, this peace treaty. Some would call it a peace treaty, some would call it an extermination treaty. And the reason many call it that is because what happens after the fact. If we look back at the beginning of 2020, the buildup of Abiy loyalist forces near the Tigray region, then the operation, the law enforcement operation that Abiy Ahmed had declared in conjunction with Isaias Afwerki, which was not a law enforcement operation, it was a full-on military operation. And we look and we compare and we contrast on what happened during those days. Then we fast forward to current events, and we look and we read and we analyze this current so-called agreement that could be in the process of becoming a reality. Could be. Right now it's not a reality, but it could in the future. Now let's hypothetically pretend for a minute that this agreement has been executed. Large portions of the Tigrayan Defense Forces have been disarmed. Heavy weapons turned in, maybe a few light weapons remain. The Tigrayan Defense Force demobilized. If we look at what has happened in other regions of Ethiopia, the former state of Ethiopia, what do you think then happens to the TPLF? Without the protection of the Tigrayan Defense Forces, without the viable threat of force, without the viable protection that currently exists, what happens to that political apparatus in the Tigray region? In all probability, Abiy Ahmed will not come in immediately and eradicate senior leaders of the TPLF and leaders of the Tigray region that existed prior and post-conflict. In all probability, this will happen in a slow, methodical way. People will disappear. People will be arrested. People will disappear. People will flee the country. And then let's fast forward 1 year after this hypothetical agreement has been instituted. I would imagine that the TPLF would be no more than a proxy prosperity party. It would not exist, it will not exist in the form it exists today. It just won't. As I've talked about before, prior performance is indicative of future results with Abiy Ahmed and Isaias Afwerki. There is a process, a methodical process to what they do. And that's the elimination of opposition. The regime in Eritrea is the blueprint for what will happen and is happening inside the former state of Ethiopia. Now, it's not happening now because the Tigrayan Defense Forces still exist. They are still a viable counter to the Abiy Ahmed regime. But if we look down to the south, if we go down to Oromia, and now the Oromo Liberation Army is in recent days having great success on the ground. We know that the Oromo Liberation Army has seized control of Mindi. They have seized control or are in partial control of Navkimte, this area here. They have now seized control, and Abiy Ahmed forces have fled from the town of Nejo. They are surrounding and or operating very close to Dongoro, Gimbi, and have taken control of the main police station in Inango, this locale here. Now, this is very important to learn. There was a discovery that was made in Inango. There was a regime security station that was overrun by the Oromo Liberation Army. In that police station, this police operations center that was operated by Oromia Regional Special Forces, intelligence services of the Abiy Ahmed regime, and federal police forces of the Abiy Ahmed regime. Inside of this police command center was documentation on the extrajudicial killing of 255 Oromos. No due process. They were taken off the streets, taken into this facility, in all probability tortured, and then executed. 255 people in this one police facility located near the B43 and B40 roads. So if you do not believe that that sort of activity is going to occur in the Tigray region, and it did occur in the Tigray region during the 2021, late 2020 occupation. So again, that's why when you look at this agreement, you have to be very, very, very careful. Very careful. Because the only thing preventing that sort of activity, the likes we see in Oromia, from happening in the Tigray region is the Tigray Defense Forces. In order for anything in terms of some sort of peace deal to work, the Eritrean army is going to have to withdraw from the Tigray region. The Abiy loyalist forces are also going to have to withdraw. And then you may have a starting point. You may have a starting point. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, nothing has been agreed upon yet. The fighting still continues. Abiy loyalist forces continue with its airstrikes. So the peace agreement is just something that is written on paper that is not being executed at the moment. But we will see what happens. We will continue to report. We will continue to monitor the situation on the ground and bring you information as soon as we get it. Thanks for joining us today. More to come. Have a good day.